G'day guys, how you doing? Well, this video is going to be somewhat off topic. This video is primarily directed towards New Zealanders. 100% New Zealanders more than any other group of people out there. So for you New Zealanders, I just want you to know a little background on me. I lived in the United States for 26 years. I was born and raised in New Zealand, moved overseas. I've lived in Australia for a short while, and I lived in the United States, like I said, for 26 years. I've also traveled certain countries in Europe, also Russia and the Ukraine. So I've got a good amount of experience as far as seeing a little bit of the world. I lived in a part of the United States that was right next door to the fifth most strategically important military base in the world. I got to know a lot of military personnel, special operations, and a friend of mine is actually very high up in US military intelligence. Very high up, in fact, in US military intelligence. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I'm not going to say anything else because the majority of you won't even believe if I told you what I was going to tell you. So the purpose of this video is it's come to my attention today after reading an article that our illustrious Prime Minister, the awesome feminist Jacinda Ardern, is going to be nullifying a law or overturning a law that was put in place by the previous government. And that law is in regards to allowing refugees from Middle Eastern countries and African countries into our country. See, previously, if any refugees were going to be coming into New Zealand, they had to have family already in this country, which means the family was already very well vetted. It meant that it wasn't just going to be a free-for-all in regards to letting people into New Zealand, and more so people into New Zealand from countries where there seems to be a huge number of radical individuals that are also in those countries. So, Jacinda, after our little terrorist attack in Christchurch, sadly, I moved back to New Zealand. I actually flew into New Zealand the day after that terrorist attack, and I could not believe it. I literally thought to myself, with my own personal experience, I'm like, okay, let's see what happens because of this terrorist attack. Well, it didn't take too long to figure out what the hell was going on. Jacinda Ardern whipped her hijab on, and she was out there, quick as a flash, bowing and kowtailing to the Muslim community in New Zealand. Now, I'd say the Muslim community in New Zealand, by and large, is most probably a pretty decent group of people, primarily because of the fact that we have a specific law in place that basically allows the New Zealand government and the officials at immigration to vet very, very well the individuals that are coming into our country. Now, Jacinda Ardern is overturning that law, which basically means they're going to open up our bloody borders to refugees from countries where radical Islam has a firm foothold. Now, myself personally, I don't have an issue with you wanting to practice any form of religious belief system. But I do have a big problem with any radical version of a specific belief, religion, or ideology. And the problem is today, there is a very specific group of people on this planet that want to see this group of people gone. They want to see this group of people literally wiped off the face of the earth because their religious beliefs and their religious teachings teach a thing called diminitude, which is an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. And a certain group of people are still really pretty sore over what happened in regards to the Crusades. Now, I've researched this stuff in depth. I've spoken to my friends in US military intelligence, God's honest truth, in depth. And I understand clearly where radical Islam comes from. I've studied Wahhabism, which is the root of radical Islam. I know exactly who the descendants of radical Islam are. And it comes as absolutely no surprise to me whatsoever that Jacinda Ardern, who is a self-proclaimed feminist, is embracing this specific group of people because they want this specific group of people wiped off the face of the earth. True. True, true, true. There's a reason why the Buddhists in China and the Hindus in India don't want to have anything to do with that specific group of people. So why is it that a feminist, Jacinda Ardern, this self-proclaimed, hate speech advocate, the savior of the free world, wants to go out there and absolutely embrace the one group of people who have the least amount of tolerance towards female rights? I mean, I thought feminists were literally about, equal rights, rights for females, females getting this, females getting that, females just basically having the run of the show. So what is it about feminists that embrace the radicalized version of Islam? Well, it's because this group of people need to be wiped off the face of the earth. They need to go away. Now, why is that? Why do feminists want this group of people removed from the face of the earth? Well, it's really simple. It's incredibly simple. We represent the patriarchy today. You see, the patriarchy used to be these old men that were in politics, presidents and prime ministers of countries, preferably Western countries, corporate leaders, CEOs, owners of huge corporations, banking systems, law firms, you name it, all the way through. This group of people, right here, this group of people, we were apparently the patriarchy, the root of all evil in the eyes of the feminist. Well, guess what's happened? The feminist is now the leader of countries. I mean, look at Jacinda Ardern. The hate speech advocate, the leader of the free world. T.E.K. We've got to go out there and spread love and, we've got to be kind and caring and open arms to all these other nations. Okay? Especially the radical ones. So, here she is. She's out there. She's the leader of the free world now. You've got feminists, they're the heads of corporations, CEOs, lawyers, accountants. Feminists are everywhere now. They've gotten what they've wanted. They've overran the patriarchy. So what's next in their crosshairs? What's the next version of the patriarchy? Who is the patriarchy? It's us. It's us, guys. Yep. And that's why the feminists embrace radical Islam. That's why a feminist like Jacinda Ardern is literally opening up the doors of New Zealand to refugees, and amongst those refugees are going to be radicalized individuals who are going to move to this tiny little part of the world, and they're going to start spreading their venom amongst the rest of their male subjects. And that venom will be turned against us. And not only will it be turned against us, what's the other thing that Jacinda Ardern is wanting to do? Oh yes, she's wanting to disarm us. She's wanting to take away all our guns. So not only is she willing to take away all our guns and absolutely cripple us as far as us being able to protect ourselves, she's also willing to move radical people into this country. We have a population of between 4.5 to 5 million people. Our population is too small and our country is too small to allow this to happen. It's not going to happen overnight. But I can guarantee you, within 10 years, New Zealand will become a frickin' shithole. Because the population is too damn small. Plain and simple. You only have to look at what's happening to the countries in Northern Europe. I've traveled through Germany. It's unbelievable what's going on there. I've been through France. Have any of you seen any of the beautiful towns in France that have been turned into Sharia law compounds? Any of you? Any of you? Literally towns where police have no rights whatsoever, where white females get raped and murdered. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen in New Zealand immediately, but I can guarantee you 100% that it will happen because I've seen it firsthand. I've got the experience with my own eyes. And this is the issue that I have with Jacinda Ardern. Jacinda Ardern is an absolute muppet. Winston Peters is the guy that's leading the charge behind this stuff. Winston Peters is the main leader. He is the guy that's behind the scenes, directing and pushing Jacinda Ardern. Jacinda Ardern is just an absolute muppet, plain and simple. She is just out there doing the work for the globalists. That's all Jacinda Ardern is a globalist, bloody puppet. And as far as I'm concerned, it is absolutely disgusting what she has just done. And her government, the people behind her, this is absolutely disgusting. And I'm telling you, as a New Zealand citizen, that this is the worst thing that is going to happen to this country. Plain and simple. And if you don't believe me, let her get away with doing what she wants to do. Bring about your Kia kaha. Bring about, I am hope. Bring about all that stuff. I can guarantee you, in the next 10 to 15 years, New Zealand, it'll go down the bloody toilet. Your clean, green country, yeah, it'll still be green, but it ain't going to be clean. There'll be more women being raped. There'll be frickin' women being murdered, just like in Europe. Look at what's happening in Europe. Do you really think that that's not going to happen here? And here's the thing. We're two little islands at the bottom of the South Pacific. This is not the place for a social experiment. And it's certainly not the place for a stupid, naive, ignorant globalist who's never really experienced any of the real world, like Jacinda Ardern, to try and pull her stupid, naive, ignorant acts as a leader. This is fucking mind-blowing. That's my video. Peace.